It is Europa League time. United are heading off to sunny Spain to play Real Sociedad for the last 16 of this so-called revamped Europa League, and we are languishing in the mid-table. No, we're not. We are languishing in the bottom quarter of the Premier League. There is hope. Not a lot from this guy, but there is hope of winning UEFA's second-rate competition. Being one of the highest ranked teams in it, but also as a potential undeserved pathway to Champions League football next season. We last won the Europa League all the way back in 2016-17 under the tutelage of Jose Mourinho, and it's the only piece of silverware that we can still win this season. We are no longer able to win the Premier League, in case anybody was wondering. Sociedad, however, never won a continental title. Their last regional trophy was all the way back in 2010, which was the Copa del Rey. And they're also mid-table in the Liga in 9th. They're 10 points off a Europa League spot for next season. So two teams that probably could do with a little bit of lift and maybe are looking to the Europa League as a bit of a way for doing that one. Sociedad have established themselves as a team that are very possession orientated, good tactical discipline in the side, and they've got a good emphasis on pressing and fluidity. Manager's got deep ties with the club, cultivate a style that blends both attacking intent and defensive solidity and adapting to opposition whilst maintaining some quite key and core principles. Sociedad's base formation is very typical of what you would see coming out of Spain at the moment, which is a 4-3-3. Occasionally it looks like a 4-1-4-1 and can flip into both being a 4-2-3-1 or even a 4-4-2 out of possession. When they're in 4-1-4-1, Zubimendi often anchors midfield as a lone pivot with two central midfielders, usually Mendes or Sukic, ahead of him, flanked by Kubo and Becker on the wings. That setup allows them to be compact and hits a bit of a mid-block that likes to push off into a bit of a high press. In possession, fullbacks will push high, wingers will tuck inside to try and get into the half spaces, and the midfielders will rotate to try and create overloads. They will be good on the ball. The striker, probably going to be Arazabal, is going to drop off and link play, blurring sort of traditional positional lines for them. They've also experimented with a back three and a 5 at times as well, so don't be surprised if that 4-3-3 ends up looking like a back three at times, because they tend to do that against opposition that they think are stronger. If they've watched United, they won't bother with the back three because we're certainly not stronger, and we don't really have a lot in attack that can do too much damage. But I've got a trick up my sleeve, and I'll get to that when I give you my United 11, and there's loads of you going to be not happy with this, but there's method in my madness, or there's madness in my method, maybe. They are going to prioritise being patient in the build-up, and they're often going to start with goalkeeper Ramiro and the centre-halves, basically just playing short passes. Zubimendi will drop deep to be looking to go 3v2 or potentially 4v3. Give them the numerical advantage in their box. They will try and play in their box. Another hallmark of how they play is they will invert the fullbacks. So rather than overlapping, they're more likely to move into the half space. That's going to reduce the distance between the players when they're creating those little passing triangles, and it minimises the risk against high pressing teams, and it does allow for the wingers to stay high and wide as well. Unlike teams that rely heavily on wing play, Sociedad really prefer to progress through the middle, and that's another reason why I'm going for what I'm going for. Midfielders like Mendes and Mourinho excel at receiving the ball in between the lines, turning and driving forward. Sociedad do have one of the most aggressive pressing systems in La Liga. They are literally one of the best in the league in terms of pressing when it comes to the PPDA. It's been as low as 10.6 in some matches. The press is triggered when the opposition centre-halves and goalkeeper receive a ball. Forwards and wingers will press man-to-man. They will curve runs and block passing lanes and cut off parts of the pitch, and they try and force turnovers high up the pitch. So I don't think it's a game that you want to be having a weak core, and I will get on to exactly what I want to see from United as we get into it. In terms of star man for them, it will be Zubimendi. Looks like he's on his way to Arsenal in the summer, so all eyes are going to be on him. Very good defensive midfielder, very good anchor man, good on the ball, and an area that we're not great at the moment as well. There's every chance he's going to get on the ball and he's going to run the game. And that's a bit of a concern for United. His defensive ability allows flair attackers like Kubo and Arazabal to thrive and do their thing, but he is very, very tidy in possession, and he is an absolute problem for us as well. Now, onto my madness. Mazraoui, Maguire, De Ligt in front of Onana. And the reason I've gone for Mazraoui over Yoro, I'm sure he'll bring Yoro on later on. He loves a centre-half sub more than any manager I've ever seen. But the reason I've gone with Mazraoui is Mazraoui on the left-hand side, in behind Dorgu, to talk him through the game, to help him through the game, and to cover for him when he goes on raids. I think he's got the pace, I think he's got the awareness, and I think he's got the security when it comes to passing to be able to play in that area as well. Maguire, I'm not a big fan of his, but there's not really a lot of options, so he'll play. And then De Ligt, who was fantastic last weekend, hopefully he can put in a decent performance as well. I think it'll be Delot on the other side because there's literally no options. And then a midfield of Ugarte and Bruno in a double pivot. And then this is where it gets a little bit interesting. I don't want to see Højlund or Garnacho in the team. The decision-making and the quality from the pair of them is fucking nowhere near good enough. So what do? We're away in Europe. We do not need to win this game. We need to not lose this game. So we're going to go Casemiro and we're going to go Eriksen. Casemiro gives us a bit of a set-piece threat and a little bit of unpredictability when he's got fucking 3 other midfielders in midfield with him. He's not going to be required to do a lot. And it means that United get to clog up the centre of the pitch where Sociedad are going to want to try and play through. United create a box midfield, Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno, Ugarte, and United go and take possession. And that's in behind Xerxes. Where's the pace? There is none, right? You're looking at Dorgu, and that's it, really. United are going to have to attack through the left, see if he can get round to the byline and get something coming into the box where you're going to see Casemiro and Xerxes, possibly Bruno, maybe Delot from the far side, crash in the box. I want to see that box midfield. Box midfield equals defensive solidity. Defensive solidity means coming away still in the fucking competition, because that's what United need to do. If we go 2 goals down, do you think that United have got the capability to go to Old Trafford and put it on someone and score 3 goals? Because if you do, you are sniffing all the glue. It's not happening. United need to go and you need to be tactical in this game. And I'm not saying come away from our principles. I'm not saying play a low block. I'm not saying that. I'm saying go and take the ball. De Ligt, Mazraoui, Ugarte, Bruno, Casemiro, Eriksen, and even Xerxes can hold you a ball. Those players in the spine of a team can keep hold of a ball all day long. They're technical enough, they're good enough, they're experienced in European competition enough. They can fucking do that. And I believe in them to do that. How's it going to score goals? Not many ways, admittedly. Not many ways. Maybe later on in the game, you bring on Garnacho and or Højlund or Chido. Chido's not going to be available, is it? So not Chido. Højlund or Garnacho later on in the game and see if you can open them up as they get a little bit more desperate and try and open the game up. But this is a must not lose rather than a must win. So that's what I want to see coming into this. Match winner is Bruno Fernandes. Why? Because he's the only match winner that it feels like we've got in this squad, and it's a totally inept attack that's going to have to rely on individual brilliance, and he's the only one that's got any brilliance in him. So it's clearly Bruno Fernandes. And as always, this is brought to you by our friends at Hollywood Bets. And as the Europa League heats up, United travel to Sociedad to face a crucial showdown with Real Sociedad. Both teams pushing for European glory. Both teams needing European glory. Expecting a very tough task for Manchester United. But here's the picks that I'm going for. Kubo, 1+ shot on target. Bruno Fernandes, 1+ shot on target. Arambaru to be carded. Both teams to score on over 8.5 corners. That's been boosted from 24-1 to 30-1. So if you stick a £10 bet on that, you could win £310 back. And if you'd like to get involved with that, link for that is in the description. If you're new to Hollywood Bets, there's loads of sign-up offers which are in the description as well. Odds are subject to change. You've got to be over 18 to participate, and betting should always be done responsibly and for entertainment only. For more information, check out begambleaware.org. As always, it's brought to you by Hollywood Bets and myself. Click the link below and get involved, or let me know your predictions in the comments below. How do we beat them? First and foremost, you've got to try and exploit that high line. And I know I've just picked a team that's probably going to hold the ball a little bit, but your outlet is Dorgu. You've got to play through Dorgu. The build-up has to be clean. You can't get drawn into going over the top too early. You can't really go long to Xerxes because he doesn't seem to win those. Maybe that changes playing against a team from Spain. But you've got to look to build up with some secure possession and then try and get good, solid through balls out to Dorgu. Attack down that left-hand side. Even maybe let him cheat a little bit and let him linger that high and have someone from the opposition go and deal with him while you clog up the middle, because Mazraoui is more than capable enough of plugging the gap in behind him. And then it's got to be aggression. This is Sociedad's mantra is to be defensive. So the battle will be in midfield. This is a must not lose rather than a must win. The must wins at Old Trafford. The team selection in this one's going to be massive. If Garnacho and Højlund are in there, one of them's very likely to play. He's probably not going to play the team I've picked. One of them's very likely to play. If both of them play, we're not going to win the game. It's as simple as that. That's my opinion anyway. Let me know your thoughts on how this is all going to go, and I'll catch you lot in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.